there's been a number of comments that indicate the nature of the role and purpose of schools is changing economy, globalization, and so not only what we teach, but the role that school plays in delivering different kinds of education is clearly on the table. And I'm just curious the extent to which you see in the data here whether moving from good to great or great to excellence is a predictor of the system's adaptability to the changing kinds of requirements, or if there are a different set of skills or a different set of criteria or policies that schools need to adopt in order to adapt to what is clearly a changing economic and workforce landscape, and consequently the need for perhaps a different educational condition or requirement as well.
So Mona, if you want to take that, and then I might ask the rest of the panel, because this is an important question of how education systems respond to different economic, technological signals coming in a globalized world.
Sure. So there was a set of 6 interventions that we found to be common across all the journeys. And one of them was standards. It's been fascinating to see how standards and what systems are expecting of their students actually evolves from poor to fair, fair to good, good to great, great to excellent. And so you asked the question about good to great and great to excellent. It's particularly here that the question of 21st century skills, where is business going? And actually school systems going out of their way to speak to business leaders, except, so if you think of the Ontarios who are currently in their great to excellent journey, went out of their way to understand where is the country headed economically, what do our students need to know, and then embedding that in their standards. Different from when you're in poor to fair and you're just going for basic literacy and numeracy. So we see that most stridently affected in the standards, but then obviously it cascades into how do you want the teaching practice to look like such that it's able to reflect those standards and ensure students learn.
How do you respond to that from an American perspective?
Well, I'll tell you honestly, this is one of my greatest concerns is I think we haven't been adapting. We haven't been moving. Just 2 quick examples. One is our school day. Our school day is based upon the agrarian calendar. And we don't have almost any children working in the fields anymore. And so for 50, 80 years, we haven't adjusted. Other folks have simply lengthened. They're working harder than us. And so we have pockets where this is happening. But as a national system of education, our day is based on an absolutely outmoded sense of an agrarian economy. The second, more recent one is technology. Technology has transformed how we relate socially. It's transformed how we conduct business. Technology has not transformed how we deliver education instruction. And so the question for me is, can we, given a very slow, I would argue glacier pace of change historically, can we dramatically change that given the given the urgent need?
And are your innovation grants, are they going to help bring that about?
We sure hope so. But again, whether it's race to the top or invest in innovation, all these things we're trying to do is we're trying to put a lot of money behind places that are doing business in very, very different ways.
My name's Jim Clomus from Knowledge Alliance, and great panel and great report, and thank you so much. The whole notion of sustaining improvement continuously over time suggests that you have the capability to know what works and also to keep thinking of new ways to do things better, which ultimately suggests some kind of a research and development infrastructure that surrounds a system. So I was wondering, I know in Chicago and in Long Beach you had special relationships with research institutions that ultimately integrated all the findings of the research institutions into the way you operated. I was wondering if you could just comment a little bit more on what kind of a knowledge R&D infrastructure should be in place in order to sustain these kinds of improvements.
Carl, do you want to comment on that?
When we were first starting with our standards work, and believe it or not, it actually involved the Education Trust and the Clark Foundation of New York that were supporting this work, we had a vacancy in research and evaluation in Long Beach, and so I went to the Crest Center at UCLA, Eva Baker's shop, and hired a woman named Lynn Winters, who came with a bunch of research and evaluation folks who really made the difference. she would actually go out to schools and say to classroom teachers, if you don't like Sat 9, what do you like? What's a good measure of your performance? We actually know how to do customized assessments. And so this whole infrastructure was built over perhaps a decade of actually having, within the Long Beach School District, a powerful capability in the area of assessment.
Deborah, do you want to comment on this question of R&D and system reform?
Definitely. I mean, I would say that it's one of the things that that we really need more of in our state. We're a little bitty state that is very focused internally. And so we've been working really closely with the higher education institutions within Rhode Island, but also building relationships with some of the Department of Education funded research organizations, and beginning to put in written agreements with them and starting to build partnerships to help us out and take advantage. We actually, one of the things that we have in our state is really a good amount of data, but we don't have the knowledge to go along with it to actually make it usable. So we're looking forward to doing a better job of that.
The thing I've often found is that you get very good R&D and people making policy separately, and it's the quality of the conversation between the two, which you see is very, very strong in places like Singapore or Hong Kong, and in other places there's good people trying to do policy and good people trying to do R&D, but constructing the conversation in a way that is practical and useful seems like a challenge.